you there, trying to stand out from the crowd, trying to differentiate yourself from everyone else. Are you a freelancer? Wondering how to start a business? Hi, you are at the right place with the right person. Hi, guys, I'm Renu, and welcome to episode number 2 of Cirqle Talks by Investronomics. I'll be your host for this series. For those of you tuning in for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. This happens every Wednesdays at 9 o'clock. So give us a thumbs up and click like to the videos, and also click the subscribe button so you can keep informed of our videos. So in conjunction with International Women's Day last Monday, we have a talented young female entrepreneur today on our show. She started as a freelancer and later became an entrepreneur when she found her passion for marketing. She founded Our Stories Lab, a digital media marketing agency that crafts stories worth telling online. She has worked with some of the big brands and phenomenal individuals who are household names, like the two names, which is Pandalala Renong, YouTube sensation Sam Soon. She's also, her major clients are also tailors, education groups, and many more. Her success has gotten her featured on top 70 rising personalities in LinkedIn Malaysia by Marketing in Asia. Today, she is here to talk to us about investing in a personal brand. Everybody, put your hands together at home for Laura Wong, founder of Our Stories Lab.
Hi. Hi, Renu. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm good, Laura. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
No, it's my pleasure as well.
That's great. Okay, so today we're going to start off with some questions for you. Some simple questions about marketing. Thank you so much for joining us today. So, how was your job today? How's your Wednesday going before we start?
It's middle of the week, and middle of the week is always when things are getting better, I would say, because the most hectic part of the week always starts on the Monday and Tuesday. So Wednesday is where you get to catch up on things, where you get to put things at ease, and look forward to the Friday as well, right? So I would say that today it was a long day, but overall it went well.
Perfect, Laura. That's why we have it on Wednesdays, to inspire people for the next 2 days.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect timing.
All right, so let's get started. Oh, guys, for you at home, so if you have any questions, for Laura, do put it down on the comment section and we will answer you. All right, so Laura, you are an expert at personal branding. To me, personal branding is how I dress, how I speak, how I carry myself out in public. So, is my understanding correct? What is personal branding to you, and why is it not as simple as the way I dress or, the profile picture that I'm choosing for my Instagram account?
Yeah, sure, Ranu. So actually, what you said about personal branding is not wrong. So how you dress, how you carry yourself in the public, all of this actually plays into what people perceive you and what people think about you. And with that said, personal branding essentially is about how you promote yourself to the world, how you tell your story, how you communicate about your value, how you carry yourself online and offline. All of these elements is what makes up your personal brand, right? It makes up how people perceive you and what people think about you.
You are your own brand, in other words, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk business. Let's get to know more about Our Stories Lab. I understand you came from a finance background, and within a year of employment, you left for a freelance marketing career. And then you started your own venture at the age of only 23. This is something that's scary to most of us. As fresh graduates, we seek for job security. We want to be secured in the industry. We want to learn, we want more experience. What actually inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
Right. So I always had the dream of owning something of my own, right? I just never thought it would happen so soon as well. Just that life has its own way of working out your dreams. You just have to surrender to it sometimes. So in my case, yeah, first thing first, when I graduated with a finance degree, I realized that this was not something that I really enjoyed doing because during my internship, I did an internship in a marketing agency, and I felt that sorry, not marketing agency, I did it in the FMCG firm, right? And at that point, I felt that wow, marketing is something that is super interesting. You know, it's constantly evolving. You will never do the same thing every day. And it got me excited to go to work every single day. But when I came back to uni and I asked some of my friends, hey, what did you learn in your finance internship, right? With audit firms and banks. And when they tell me their story of what they do as a finance intern or what a day in the life of what a finance executive would do in these companies, it didn't really excite me. So it was then I already know that I don't think this is the pathway for me. So I'm not even going to try. Right? So in my case, I actually decided quite early on that finance was not for me. So that's why I ventured into marketing. I started to work in a startup. It was a very small startup, but very innovative, very fast-paced kind of startup, right? And it was there I got to learn what social media marketing is really like, right? It's not as simple as, oh, I have a picture of a food, I'm just going to take a picture of it and it goes up, right? There's a lot of planning, a lot of strategy that goes on behind the scene, a lot of things that we have to do behind of the scene of or to ensure that our social media marketing campaign goes really well. So that really intrigued me and excited me to learn more about marketing. So I was in that role for about a year. And after a year, I realized that, hey, my growth was stuck. It was pretty stunted because at that point when I was part of that team, that small startup, there was only 6 of us, and out of 6 of us, 3 of them were the founders, right? So you can tell it's a really, really small team, and I felt like I couldn't progress any further with my passion in marketing, right? So that was where I decided that, perhaps if I want to really expand and go further, I need to shift and pivot and try something new. So I quit my corporate job, or startup job, if you can call it. And instead of starting an agency immediately, what I did was I started freelancing first. So as a freelancer, it was not as risky as as compared to you just jumping and starting a business of your own. Because yes, as a freelancer, the only cost is yourself, and the only investment is in yourself. So for me, actually, personally, I'm not such a big risk taker. That is why I started off as a freelancer first. Yeah. So if you think I'm a risk taker, well, actually, I was not really, that kind of person that you think of. I was pretty afraid. So I thought to myself, okay, I'm just gonna try out freelancing first, and if all else fails, I can always, go back to a corporate job, right? So that's how I started my journey as a freelancer. Only later did I found that 8 months later, there was a potential to go further. And because I saw that potential, I decided to turn it into a full-fledged agency.
Wow. So you took that leap of faith.
Yeah, you can say that.
Our Stories Lab is about crafting stories worth telling online. How did you see this as a profitable business idea?
Okay, well, I think before we talk about profitable, the first thing first is always you have to identify what kind of value can your business or your service offer that is different from the market, or a service or value you can offer that could penetrate an existing market. Like in my case, I'm actually penetrating an existing market. It's nothing, honestly, social media marketing is nothing new, right? There's so many agencies out there. There's so many options, right? So if you're going to say that it's super innovative or anything, not really. So since it's not super innovative, I had to find a way to communicate my value and use this value and story to re-enter this already very saturated market. So in my case, what I realized that my strength really is as a marketer is in storytelling, right? Not just telling stories like, grandmother stories, that kind of stories, but the ability to identify the brand objectives, identify what's unique in their product and services, and kind of create a story to bring them closer to their business objective. So that was what I was really good at. And because I knew that was something I could do well, I tested it out as a freelancer first. And after testing my concept, in my freelancing journey, I knew that I can apply this same concept and this same business system into my business. Okay, so once I identified that, I brought it to the market and it was very well received. Right? So definitely, when someone recognizes your value and there's a market for it, that is already a sign of a profitable business. Of course, the other reason of why I decided to venture into an agency is because this is a low entry business, and it's a business that requires low investment of capital. Right? As an agency, your major investment would be on human capital, because you need to invest in talents in order to carry out your projects. So, and most of this investment that you make could actually come from the fee that your client can already pay you ahead of time, right? So for clients who work with us, we always ensure that they pay us an amount first, so that we have cash flow in order to hire talents. And because of that, we are not at a loss. In fact, we have never been at a loss, I would say. Our cash flow is always green, always healthy. And because of this model, we have enough capital to even have a burn rate of 4 to 5 months. Burn rate means that you can burn money without earning anything. For the next 4 to 5 months, if let's say my business has no sales, we can still sustain for 4 to 5 months. So looking at this business model, it is very profitable for someone like me who is young and no money and yet want to start a business.
Lesson learned. Take an upfront deposit. Yes, collection is very important, Laura. So you were a young entrepreneur in an industry with so many older competitors. And on top of that, establishing a business, you started during the pandemic, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the 3 key challenges that you faced, and how did you cope with these challenges?
Right. So I would say that a challenge as a young entrepreneur, regardless of whether it's in the pandemic or non-pandemic, is that there will be lack of trust at the beginning.
Okay.
Right? Because you're so young, you don't have much experience, you don't have a great portfolio, you don't have a lot of network and stuff like that. So obviously, trust is going to be an issue for a young entrepreneur. How can older clients trust you with their social media? How can they trust you with their money? Are you going to invest it well and manage and deliver quality services? So trust is definitely one of the big factor, I would say, as a big challenge as a young entrepreneur. Of course, the second one is also the lack of network, right? Because I've only worked for 1 year, as I shared with you earlier. So within 1 year, how much network can I gain? Right? Actually, it's not much. It's really very short in 1 year. And of course, within that 1 year, I don't spend the whole 1 year networking. I'm spending the time learning new skills, right? To enhance my ability as a social media marketer. So the lack of network is really the second challenge, I would say, because when it comes to the world of business, having a good network is really very important. Because especially for my business nature, one of our most effective sales method will be word of mouth. People just refer clients to me, and usually when it comes from a referral, the chances of me securing the deal is 50% higher, right? So that would be the second challenge. And the third one would be, I would say, leadership actually. So as a young entrepreneur, besides just making sales, what a lot of people tend to overlook at the start is ability to lead others, especially your own teammates. So in my case, because I was so young and I only had worked about 1 year and was under the leadership of a boss for 1 year, when I started to lead my own team, there was actually quite a number of challenges, I would say. Not understanding how to manage expectations, not understanding how to cast vision down, not really understanding how to manage disagreements or conflicts. And all of these things, even though it might not seem like priority, but it really does impact the final performance and the deliverables that you can give to your clients, right? So I would say these are the 3 main challenges.
Right. So let me recap that, guys. So the challenges that Laura faced being a young entrepreneur would be gaining that trust from the public, the lack of network, and also leadership role. But I think you're doing really well. How did you solve all those challenges and rise up
Well,
like
okay.
a star?
Yeah. So all the challenges have not been solved yet, but they have been better over the years. Just to put it out there, definitely the challenges are still there. So let me answer the first two. Yeah. Let me answer the first two challenges. So about trust and lack of network. Now, given that I'm young and given that I don't have, enough trust and network from the audience, sorry, from my potential target audience. One way that has worked really, really well for me as I start to grow my business is through building a personal brand for myself, right? So why? Okay, number one is simply because when you build a personal brand, you're putting yourself out there and you are giving yourself and your business more visibility. Instead of just staying hidden offline, trying to stay reserved, as a business owner, you really need to put yourself out there. You cannot be shy. Even though you're an introvert, actually, I am an introvert. Probably you cannot tell, but I am. So yeah, so even though I'm shy and I'm an introvert, but I had to make myself go out there, and of course, through the right strategies, have to put yourself out there using the power of personal branding. So that's number one. Number two, when you invest in your personal brand, of course, you're not just putting yourself out there, but you are starting to learn how to communicate your value to the world. And that is really very important, right? And that's what differentiates someone who is just randomly posting selfies all day versus someone who is really seriously taking their brand seriously, right? So when you are able to communicate your value out there in a strategic manner, you are able to find audience that can resonate with what you do and potentially turn them into your clients. That is how I managed to get strangers messaging me on LinkedIn asking, "Hey Laura, can you help me with social media? Hey Laura, can you help me with storytelling? I'm stuck, you know." So it was through recognizing the pain point and through communicating the value strategically. That was how I managed to get strangers sending me DMs asking for my services, right? So that through personal branding, I would say it has really helped me to build trust, right? Because when I was posting content consistently, demonstrating my expertise in storytelling and social media, people started to trust me more than just a young entrepreneur. They start to see, hey, what Laura says is making sense, like, hey, Laura, what Laura said is not just random things, but it seems like she know what she's talking about, right? And it is because I post this content consistently, people start to trust me more, and hence not just trust me, but they start to refer me to other people, right? So they start to say that, oh, I have a friend who needs some help with social media. Can you help them? Right? So that solves the problem on my trust and also the problem on the lack of my network. Of course, in the area of leadership, it's a continuous learning journey, right? But I would say it was through building my personal brand on LinkedIn that I was able to gain access to mentors. Yeah, so not just sales and clients, but I was able to gain access to mentors who are experienced business owners who are willing to coach and mentor young people like myself, right? But why are they willing to coach and mentor young people? They also don't want to simply waste their time on people who just waste their time, right? So again, they decided to spend their time on me again because they look into what I'm posting and they believe in my personal brand, and hence, they are now investing their time in me as well. So I would say, yeah, all of these three challenges, I was able to handle and overcome it using the power of personal brand.
Understood. Coming back to the topic trust, right? How long did it take for you to build that trust with your
Oh,
clients?
okay. Yeah, so in sales wise, I would say as a start, it's definitely challenging because you are trying to put yourself out there and compete with other people who already established a good personal brand on LinkedIn, right? So in my case, when I started, luckily when I started, it was not too saturated yet. Now it's getting more and more saturated. But when I started, it took me about 6 months before I was able to reach a result, I would say. So within the 6 months, I had to experiment a lot of things. You won't get your personal brand completely right at first try. It's quite challenging. You'll have to experiment at the start. So I took about 3 to 4 months to experiment, and within the 4 to 6 months, I was pretty. I pretty much knew what I want to brand myself as, and I was just going all out and trying to put myself out there even more.
Correct. You were being bold and just putting yourself on the market. So personal branding helped you get a mentor and different clients, yeah? That's great, Laura. Your story is really inspiring. Let's keep this going. Okay, so now to give a little to the viewers out there to help them level up, I would like to say, So, what are 3 actionable steps that you can take to up your game for personal branding?
Right. So first thing first, if you want to start a personal brand, you need to number one, identify what is your value. So ask yourself, within your industry or within your career, what do you think you can do pretty well or better than others? Or even if it's not better than others, what is a skill that you're most passionate about? Right. So you really need to have something unique that sets you apart, right? Whether is it a skill or whether is it your character, your personality, or your background, right? Ask yourself, what can I use from my background, my skill set, my history, and stuff like that to make me stand out a little bit more. So, what is your value? Right? The problem that you're trying to solve within your industry. So ask yourself, what is the value that you can bring to the table, or if you are in a group of if you are in the group of people within your industry and you want to make sure that you stand out there, then ask yourself what are the conversation you can add to the table, right? So these are questions you want to ask yourself so that you can really identify what is unique and different about you that can set you apart as you build your personal brand. Okay, then once you identify that, the second step is to craft your personal branding story. So it's not just about thinking, oh, I am unique because I know how to tell stories, right? I mean, that's great. That is step one. But you don't want to just go out and tell people that, right? You want to put it into a story that can, or in our terms, we call it your personal branding statement, right? So when people ask, hey, Rianu, what do you do? Instead of just saying that, I'm Rianu, I'm a finance executive at XYZ company, right? Craft that story a little bit different. Hey, I'm Rianu. I am a finance enthusiast with a passion to help people fight financial illiteracy, right? And hence, I'm also running Investonomics at the side, right? Because I really want to help young millennials to fight financial illiteracy. So something like that, something very impactful, powerful. Yeah, I just gave you your personal brand statement. You can use it, feel free. All right, so yes, create a story because see, people remember stories. If you all you do is give them facts and figures, well, it's impactful at the start, but whether is it memorable, not really. So you have to turn your value, what's unique about you, into a story where people can remember you. Okay, so that's step two. Now the third step is you need to find the right platform to build your personal brand upon. Yeah, so depending on, well, of course, finding the right platform will depend on a few things. Number one, what is your objective? So what is your objective of building a brand? Is it to get a job? Is it to build an influence over the side hustle that you're building? Are you trying to sell products? So depending on your objective, then of course that's where you want to decide which platform is right for you. So of course, if you are looking to build a B2B business or if you're looking for your next career jump, then LinkedIn is a great place. Clubhouse as well, one of the new social media platform. This is really good for you to build authority and leadership over different topics. Yeah, it could be professional topics, it could even be lifestyle topics. So Clubhouse is definitely a new platform that you can venture into. If you're selling B2C product, they're very lifestyle based. This or even investor economics. I know you're targeting millennials who wants to get bite-sized financial information. Then yeah, Instagram works, Facebook works as well. So then you need to know what your objective is, and once you do that, find the right platform to build your personal brand upon. I don't recommend that you go on every single platform as a start, simply because at the start you are on your own and you only have 24 hours a day. And of course, you don't want to spend 24 hours building your brand, correct? So if with the limited time and resources that you have, start with one platform first. Really go all in that platform. Make sure your exposure is super great, your visibility is great, your results is there. And once you see success, start moving on to other platforms.
That's great advice, Laura. Okay, guys, I'm going to give a quick recap. You better have your notebooks and your pens and pencil to write this down. So basically, the first thing you got to do is identify your value, write your strength, your weaknesses down. And then it's all about telling a story. Tell a story about you. How difficult can that be, right? I know it's more difficult than it sounds, but example that Laura used, I'm already done with my personal branding story. Thanks, Laura. And then find the right platform for you. What are you trying to sell? If you're trying to get a job, you have to be on LinkedIn. If you're trying to sell a product, get on Instagram, for example. Yeah, what works for you and what is good. Focus on it and do the right thing. Thanks, Laura. That is some solid advice for them to level up, including myself. So now let's get into your personal finance, Laura. So I have a few quick questions that I would like to ask you. First, what did you do with your first paycheck?
Right. So for myself, I took my family out for a nice meal. It's kind of like a tradition in our family where, when good things happen or parents get a bonus or sister get a paycheck. It is something that we do in our family. We go out for a good meal. I think our family just enjoys good meal lah, in general.
Are you, what food do you like?
Oh, recently I'm very much into Arabic cuisines.
Wow. Yes, Arab kebabs and all that. That's great.
Yeah, I just had shawarmas for dinner.
We should have had dinner together. So, what is one guilty pleasure you spend on with your eyes closed? I'm gonna get that.
Oh, okay, it's quite a lot, but one thing that I always spend money on without thinking much is earrings. I love to collect earrings.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's a good waste of money, trust me. You look great. Okay, next one. What's one money goal you set for yourself in 2021?
Money goal for myself, I would say this year I would strive to diversify my income because back in 2020 and the years before, most of my income comes primarily from my business sales alone. So whatever income I make from my business, that would be the income for myself as well. And this year, I would like to start exploring other sources of income streams, and perhaps I could learn more from investonomics on this.
We'll definitely be bringing more for you to learn from. Do you invest, Laura?
Well, I do invest very subtly. I would say I only have one investment in a money market fund, and that's about it.
Oh, nice, nice. Are you seeking to invest in more things? Are you researching? Are you a researcher for investments?
No, actually, I'm a really lazy investor, which is very bad. No, honestly, because as a business owner, you really only have so much energy and time in a day, and managing a business will take up a lot of your energy and time, especially at the start. And hence, as of this point, I'm not doing much homework on investment, and hence, I don't invest much because I haven't done enough homework. So this is something that, of course, I hope to increase slowly over time. It's not like after this call, I'm going to put my money into 10 different funds or something. It's something that I will need to increase slowly over time, I would say. Or perhaps if you have better suggestions for me on how to overcome this, I would definitely welcome.
I will let you know. I mean, you're investing in your own brand. That's a good thing. That's a big deal already, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yourself. Yeah. So, Laura, what is one advice that you want to give everyone out there in the public? Or
right. So
that you have got yourself that got you through this far.
Right. Sorry, could you repeat your last question?
And what advice that you have gotten that helped you through being an entrepreneur?
Right. Okay. So advice to everyone. Well, since this is a topic about personal branding, I would advise everyone to consider investing in your personal brand. Really, if regardless of what career stage that you are in, having a personal brand will never hurt, right? Because at the end of the day, when you invest in your personal brand, it's something that you own, right? It's your brand, and when you have a strong, influential, solid brand, you can go out there, establish influence, you can use that influence to attract more business opportunities or even career opportunities, or even get media attention eventually. There's a lot of things that you can do with your personal brand. Of course, before you even invest, it's good that you have a clear objective of what you're looking to do. Like for myself, my personal brand has really helped me to turn my freelance career into a full-fledged business. Without this personal brand, I think I will still be stuck as a freelancer, or I probably would have jumped back into a corporate job because cannot find any more clients to sustain me. So this personal brand has helped me to become a business owner today. But we have also helped many students of ours to get better career opportunities, right? Those who prefer to stay in the corporate world. That doesn't mean you should stop building your brand, because at the end of the day, you don't want to just be known as Rianu from XYZ company, right? Or someone from Petronas or someone from Unilever. It's great to be having these big company names in your CV, but once you leave, then who are you, right? What kind of value can you bring to the next company besides the fact you have 5 years experience in Petronas or 5 years experience in Unilever? So you need to have something of your own, something that you can be proud and confident of, and that is what we call personal branding. All right.
Yeah. So guys, ask yourself that question. Who are you? All right, we have some questions on the floor, Laura. Let's get to it. Hi, Gajin. So Gajin says, hi, Laura. Nice to see you again. Okay. Would you mind sharing the most challenging stories you have crafted up to date for any one of your clients? Ooh, he's getting personal.
Yeah. So most of the clients that come to us, definitely they have very challenging stories. Otherwise, they won't come to us. So I remember vividly, we had one client, very young, passionate guy, who is also multi-talented and doing too many things at one go. So when he came to us, he was having a full-time job, and at the same time, he wanted to start a side hustle. And the third thing, he was also helping to run his family business selling kueh. So when he came to us, he said, Laura, I had so many things on my plate and I don't know how to tell my story, because every time people ask me, what do you do? I have so many things to say, I just don't know where to start. So for his case, for people who are multi-talented like Rianu and Lavanya, this would probably be your issue as well. For cases like that, the first thing that we will ask him is, okay, what is your objective on LinkedIn? Then he will tell me, okay, I want to achieve this and that and this, but I will say, no, what is your primary objective? Your most priority one, the urgent one, right? We want to prioritize that first, okay? Because I know that when you're on LinkedIn, you want to try and cover every market, but when you are starting a fresh brand, you cannot take that approach. You need to start off with one message first and slowly diversify out. So we help him to identify his primary objective, what is in his priority. So once we identify that, the next thing that we do is, okay, now that we know this is your primary objective, the same thing that I told you earlier, what kind of value can you give to this service that you're trying to provide? So for his case, he was trying to provide a sales funnel strategy kind of service, right? And with his case, we had to work with him to identify where is his unique selling point as a service provider. So once we identify that, then now we translate it into a story. So we work with him to come up with his personal brand statement. So he's no longer the guy that does everything, but he is now a sales funnel strategist that is able to help businesses to transform complex processes into simple, automated, and effective sales process. So that was something that we worked out with him to build his story, right? And now when you check out his LinkedIn profile, you can see that it's not only through the words that he's able to build his brand upon, but even on the visual side, we work with him to design a sales funnel banner, right? So if you go to his LinkedIn profile, you will see a visual of like a sales process to really represent what he does as a sales funnel strategist. And through that personal brand that he built, within 1 month itself, he managed to garner 3 clients. Yeah, and that itself already covered his investment on personal branding.
Well, Laura, well done. That was very good story. Thanks, Gajin, for the question, and thank you, Laura. Unfortunately, Laura, that's all the time we have today.
No worries.
very insightful. If you have more questions for Laura, do hit us up on Investornomics or reach Laura on our Stories Lab. Do check out. All the links are below on the description box. Thank you guys. Thank you for today. Thank you, Laura.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
That was great. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone at home for watching. And this is a wrap up. Bye guys. Good night, everybody.
Good night.